Okay, so this is something I tweeted out the past weekend. Well, Tommy, listen to this, could be 2 weekends ago. I've been going to the flea market. I've been going to the flea market less the past, I'd say 6-7 months. Not just because I'm working on the book and doing other things, but the fact that
past 2 years, dude. I mean, your flea market. I mean, you used to hit them up on Saturdays and Sundays every week.
Oh yeah, I'd say 3 years ago and before I used to go every Saturday and Sunday, which killed me. But I had to go every Saturday and Sunday because I felt like if I didn't, I'd be missing out on stuff. We're talking. I did that up to about early to mid 2013. A lot of times I was going every Saturday and Sunday. Definitely 2012 I was doing that. I probably started doing that in 2012. But there was a good 2 years.
I knew you until I remember 2-3 years ago.
No, but 2-3 years ago I was just doing every Sunday. But I've stopped going every Sunday. I just went 2 Sundays in a row. But before that, I hadn't gone 2 Sundays in a row in like 3-4 months. And there's times where now I try to go at least once a month. But the whole point is if I miss it nowadays, it's not like how it used to be. Like, or I get like anxiety from missing. Oh, I'm missing out on deals. You know why? There are no deals anymore.
Yep. None.
It's drying up. Now people can say, well, my flea market, I found something. Let me explain something to you. When I first moved here in 2009, within the first few months, I was finding so much stuff that it was like when Frank was with me, I had my backpack full of stuff I was finding, consoles, games, toys. Then I had 2 full bags, Comic Con size bags. And then Frank had to carry a bag too. I'm not even exaggerating. You're not. Even in 2013, when my girlfriend at the time, she'd be here Sunday morning, I'd come back and the look on her face she'd give me when I would just dump my backpack and a bag of crap, and she'd look at me like, "What did you buy?" And I'd say, "Oh, there's more in the car." And I wasn't kidding. I'd come back with like literally, like 50 pounds of stuff. Like it was insane the amount of stuff.
A bulk amount of flea market
yes.
goods.
It was like I was buying things by the pound.
By the big metal scoop.
So the point is that it's not only that that's not happening anymore, is that I'm going to the flea market, and I said, hey, before the podcast, hey, Ian, I have a bag of Miniolas that I got for a 7-pound bag for $5. You go to the fruit and vegetable party flea market. That was my best flea market deal that I got the past month.
Hey, but Miniolas are delicious.
That's the point, is that it's not like I'm even finding something that, I hate to say it, it's not even like I'm finding non-video game stuff that's good anymore. It's like even that stuff's like, oh, I can find like a nice shoe rack or something that could be fun. It's like even that stuff's sort of dissipating. Not at the same rate as collectibles like toys, comics, and video games, but even that stuff's like sort of like going to the wayside a little bit. Not to say I can't find good stuff. I did film a Flea Market Madness about 6 months ago. I filmed that. It was pretty good. I was like, oh, it's like the old days, kind of. But the old days ain't coming back. They're gone.
Not regularly.
No, it's not like I said, I'd get up in the morning, and if I got up late, if it was like 7:30, I'm like, holy shit, I just missed out on good stuff. I don't care anymore. If that happens nowadays, I'll go back to bed and say, fuck it, I'll just go next week. That sort of impetus is gone to go to the flea market, which doesn't bode well. It doesn't bode well for a few things. It doesn't bode well for a Flea Market Madness series. You're
going to run out of footage eventually.
It's going to be Flea Market Quickies or Flea Market Sadness, which some people on Twitter have said, which I've said in the past too when I struck at Flea Market Sadness. I'll always have Frank, though. But it doesn't bode well for people that want to get into video game collecting and try to find good deals, obviously, because they're not there anymore. Now, obviously, you ask why. Obviously, there's a lot more people looking for retro video games. It used to be, it was usually me and maybe 1 or 2 others looking at the flea market. Now, there's a group of like 7 guys that are looking. But besides that, you have the resellers looking, but that's not even the problem anymore. Because it used to be that there were 4 or 5 video game resellers at the flea market like 3-4 years ago, competing with each other, and I would still find stuff. Now there's maybe 2 major video game resellers there. It's not that, it's the fact that all the other regular sellers look for the stuff too, that they are they're sort of tapped into it to know that I should be looking for this stuff. That's what happened. And I always say it's because of these fucking things, smartphones, ruined it for everyone.
Yep.
That's what happened. So demarcation line, again, about 2012, 2013, when smartphones were becoming more readily available and cheaper. That's really when it started to happen, because now you have a computer in your hand, you can look up any price, and it's not just for video games, they're looking for anything to try to flip it. And so when I go to a booth now and I see someone selling NES games for $8 each, or that's not what they're specializing in, but they happen to have like 10, 15 NES games for $8 each, it's like, What can you do? That's just what it's become.
Yeah, I think one of the other things that killed flea markets, at least for me, and I feel like Grandpa Flea Market here, because I stopped going regularly in like 2005. But I was going heavily from about 97, 98 up to 2005. The literal layout, and this touches on a little bit of what you said, the literal layout of the flea market has changed. When I was going to flea markets, the majority of what was there, not all, but a good chunk of what was there, were what I like to call garage sale tables.
Mm-hmm.
They are families or individuals who go, they set up, they sell the stuff that they don't need anymore. You could see a typewriter next to a World of Nintendo sign, which is actually how I got mine. You might, it was a mishmash of stuff, and it was fun. You'd go look at, this person might have candlesticks, but oh, holy shit, they've got a couple of Nintendo games here, And at least in terms of the fun, that's gone, because that was the fun of the flea markets for me. Now, you did have your locked in sellers. Even as far back as 98, there was one huge video game reseller. But you know what? He was moving fucking quantity. I'm talking, this guy's booth was not like a small little booth. I'm talking, he had a chunk of the flea market dedicated to himself, and he had thousands upon thousands of games in there.
Because no one else wanted them.
So if you started buying NES games, and you were buying in volume, he just cut you a fucking deal.
Because you couldn't get rid of them.
Right. Well, I mean, there was always people there, but yes, it was a very specialized market. So, the amount of dedicated resellers was vastly less than, the people just trying to sell some stuff, where you could get lucky if you kept your eyes peeled.
Mm-hmm.
But then, yeah, like you said, basically what happened is the flea markets turned into essentially a dusty cowboy town fucking commercial district where all you really have right now are these pop-up resellers that act as, you might as well call this one the video game store, and this one the shoe store, and this one
the mattress seller.
Yes.
This is the book seller.
And this is the
CD seller.
Right. And that's no fun. That's why I don't go, because that's the majority of what you see.
Now, there are certain high and lower points. I'm thinking the spring's going to be, you are going to get a few of those weeks. We're going to get a lot of people clearing out and doing the garage sale thing. But again, I think people are less hesitant because, not that there aren't people that still want to get rid of shit, but there's a lot less, again, because smartphones. And now it's like, oh, I might as well look this up. You never know. I see on the internet that a Nintendo game went for $10,000 on Yahoo. They might look it up and see, I can hold on to it, put it on Craigslist.
I was going to say, I think Craigslist has in part deterred a lot of the garage sale tables too. They don't need to set up a garage sale at home.
Oh, they can just
do it at the flea market. They can just list the shit that they think they can get some money for on Craigslist and go.
But even the new apps that, which I discovered and now I see commercials for, what is it? Like Offer Up and Wallapop.
Yeah, I've heard of Offer Up.
I saw a commercial for one.
I've never used it.
And even on those, people want eBay prices on stuff. Not just NES games, but it's like, yeah, my NES game, and I have an NES in 4 games. It might, $90 for best offer. It's just like, holy shit.
And their idea of best offer is $85.
If this was Craigslist 4 years ago, that would be $30 or less. It used to be that I could go on Craigslist, keep your jokes aside, and look for NES stuff or Virtual Boy or Game Boys. Remember that the box Game Boy collection I bought? It was a top loader, 20 to 30 NES games, and those 50 boxed Game Boy games for $200.
Crazy shit.
And that was 2012, maybe 11. That wasn't a huge amount of time ago. But that shows you how much has changed in even 5 years.
Oh yeah.
Well, that ain't happening again. It's just ain't happening. It's just not. So can it come back in some capacity? I don't know. Now, obviously, your mileage may vary. There might be a better flea market situation where you are, or again, it could be seasonal. Like I think in March, you might. Usually in the past, even though it was always pretty good, once it hit March or April, it got a little warmer out. People cleared out. The local flea market was bigger. You got more garage sellers. I think that can always happen, but I think overall the volume is shrunk. Overall, there's less people doing it. But again, there's always people doing garage sales, and that's always the best place. yard sales and garage sales are still the best place to
Or
look
you
for
look
deals.
for, sometimes, at least on the East Coast, they did call them flea markets, even if they were one-time only, like churches and schools.
Rummage sales.
Yeah, rummage sales,
Rummage
flea
sales are-
market. I've heard them called flea markets, but rummage sales, which is basically like a very large garage sale, somewhere between a garage sale and a flea market. And, generally there, even though people still have their smartphones, generally there you're more likely to find something cool.
Sure. So, pour one out for flea markets, everyone, because the salad days are probably over.
That's one of your favorite terms.
Salad?
Salad days.
I love salad.
I like salad.
I eat a salad every day.
I try to.